Hello, my grandbabies. I'm happy to see you. My grandbaby, One Mega Nightmare, wants to know how to behave when she is staying as a guest in someone else's home. Mega Nightmare, no matter where you are, when you are around other people, all the basic rules of courtesy should be followed. Here are some guidelines of courtesy that apply when you are a guest in someone else's home. Attire. Courteous behavior is to wear clothing, or at least robes, when outside one's own private area. Rude behavior is going around unclothed or partially clothed outside of one's private area. Extremely rude behavior is to wear or not wear clothing as you please, or leave your clothing all over the house. Having guests. Courteous behavior is to ask your hosts for permission every time you'd like to have a guest in their home, and to abide by all the restrictions of your host. Rude behavior is not asking your hosts, but taking full responsibility for your guests' actions. Extremely rude behavior is not asking your hosts and not taking responsibility for your guests' actions, or asking but not abiding by your host's restrictions. House rules. Courteous behavior is to understand and abide by all house rules set by your hosts, and finding somewhere else to reside if you cannot abide by those house rules. Rude behavior is not bothering to understand the house rules, but correcting your actions once they are pointed out to you. Extremely rude behavior is not following the house rules. Locating belongings. Courteous behavior is to keep your property with the rest of your belongings where you sleep. Rude behavior is leaving your belongings lying all around the house. Extremely rude behavior is leaving your belongings lying all around the house and complaining when someone tries to clean up the area. Making a mess. Courteous behavior is to clean up your mess and leave the area as you found it before doing anything else. Rude behavior is to clean up your mess later or after having been reminded to do so. Extremely rude behavior is to let someone else clean up your mess. Use of your host's phone. Courteous behavior is to keep your phone use to important calls only, and never to incur phone charges without explicit permission on a call-by-call basis. Rude behavior is to make and receive many casual calls. You should get and use a phone of your own if you're going to do casual calling. Extremely rude behavior is to incur phone charges or use the phone excessively. Private areas. Courteous behavior is to knock and wait to be invited in before opening the door and entering. Rude behavior is to knock on the door and enter without waiting to be invited. Extremely rude behavior is to intrude into a private area without being invited. Private space. Courteous behavior is to never move or remove anything from someone else's private space without explicit permission. Rude behavior is to look through someone else's private space. Extremely rude behavior is to move or remove items from someone else's private space. Arriving at meals. Courteous behavior is to respond quickly when informed of the meal being served by moving to the table or eating area and apologizing if delayed. Rude behavior is responding slowly, making others wait and not apologizing. Extremely rude behavior is ignoring the notification or being consistently late for meals. Spillable items. Courteous behavior is to put spillable items in an area where they will be unlikely to spill or be accidentally knocked over. Rude behavior is to put things down without thinking about how safe that location is. Extremely rude behavior is to put things where you know they are likely to be knocked over. Doing things the hosts find immoral. When in someone else's home, courteous behavior is abiding by the morality of your hosts if it is stricter than your own. Rude behavior is performing actions that your hosts consider slightly immoral in their home. Extremely rude behavior is performing actions that your hosts consider very immoral in their home. Feeling too hot or cold. Courteous behavior is to inform your hosts and abide by whatever your hosts say. Rude behavior is opening or closing windows, leaving doors open, or adjusting thermostats. Extremely rude behavior is opening or closing windows, leaving doors open, or adjusting thermostats, knowing that the hosts have adjusted them for health reasons. Incurring charges to your hosts. A courteous guest does not incur charges to their hosts, except with explicit permission for each charge. Extremely rude behavior is incurring any charge to their host without explicit permission. This is also known as theft. Items with lids. Courteous behavior is to keep a lid on an item, except when actively using it. Rude behavior is to leave the item with the lid nearby, but not on the item. Extremely rude behavior is to leave the item and the lid in different places. Smoking. Courteous behavior is to ask permission from your host and obey any restrictions, and also to receive permission from everyone in the area to smoke near them and to abide by any restrictions. Rude behavior is receiving permission, but smoking near others without their consent. Extremely rude behavior is smoking without asking permission or against the permission or restrictions of your hosts. Handling another's property. Courteous behavior is to treat another's property with respect, leaving it in as good a condition as it was when you found it. Rude behavior is to mishandle another's property and damage it, but offer to replace it promptly. Extremely rude behavior is to damage another's property and not make restitution. Using sprays, aerosols, and perfumes. Courteous behavior is to use the substance modestly if permitted by your hosts. Rude behavior is to use the substance modestly without asking your host's permission, or if permitted by your hosts, using an excessive amount of the substance. Extremely rude behavior is to use any such substance if forbidden by your hosts. Finally, it is important to always remember that courteous behavior always means behaving in a way that considers others and their feelings. Using courtesy is a way to show kindness and love toward others, and it is unkind, unloving, and rude to disregard the feelings, wishes, and personal space of the others around you. Now, all my grandbabies, Grandma wants to know, would you rather have everything you do automatically Twittered, or have everything you do automatically texted to your parents' cell phones? Leave an answer below to let me know. Remember, you can ask Grandma anything. If you ask in a comment to an Ask Grandma video or on the channel page, I might answer in a video. But if you ask in a personal message, my answer will be private. See you soon.